Hey guys, what's going on? My name is Neremik. Welcome back to more of the Great Ace Attorney Adventures. We're not gonna mention how long the break between episodes this time was, but all you're gonna know is that we're back now and we are in the second part of the trial. So, order please, let us resume proceedings. Witnesses, you will now retake the stand. So we wrapped up previously with, I believe, a closing argument, which means we get to re-examine these people and hopefully, not send Gina to death. I presume you heard the defense counsel's summation exclamation? Oh, yeah, Governor. I did, Gov. I did. Mr. and Mr. Skulkin. Cool, why me? This is going to be hard work. Earlier in this trial, you gave the following testimony about your actions after you went to the Winterbanks. Well, it was Bedlam Sooners, weren't it? It was, Nash, it was. Didn't even have time to pull me dukes out my Lucy lockets. However, that was a lie. You brothers... Core, why me? On the night in question, you rifled through items on the victim's counter. We never did nothing of the sort. How'd you figure that out? You will now give formal testimony once again. You will tell the court precisely what happened on the night in question, and this time, you will tell the truth. Each lie that passes your lips serves to increase the severity of your punishment. And that, gentlemen, may deal a crushing blow to your chances of ever seeing the light of day again. A thought worth pondering, perhaps. Say no more, Gov. We'll hear you. We'll blab, we'll squeak, we'll preach. Okay, I think I've still got the voices in order, so... Let's do this. A legal entry. The whole truth. Alright, we did knock a few things over, but we weren't rifling for nothing. It was when we had the gunshot, see? Made us both jump and all that stuff went flying. Well, me, it didn't give a fight. We was thinking the shooter come out the door and get us next. We took everything back where we found it and scarpered, straight into him black. We couldn't have shot the pawnbroker, see? We never even had a chance, did we? I feel we're gonna have to press a lot of those. So you admit to the defense's accusation? You did indeed ransack Mr. Winterback's countertop on the night in question. Not ransack, Governor, no. That's right, Nash, that's right. It's more like we tidied up, yeah. Van Zeeks is done. Oh, sorry. By their own admission, these brothers entered the pawnbrokery under dubious circumstances. However, they panicked and fled on hearing the gunshot, having first made good their mess. The way you say it, we hardly sound like Ross at all. We don't, Nash. We don't. Can't you make us sound a bit more cutthroat? It can't just be coincidence that these men showed up at Winterbanks that night. There's more to their testimony than meets the eye. I'm sure of it. Well, that's down to us to uncover, and I think we may just have to systematically press everything we can. So, first things first. Alright, we did knock a few things over, but we weren't rifling for nothing. I'm going to press that. I want to know what else they knocked over, see if we can contradict it. If that's the case, then why didn't you testify to that effect in the first place? Well, you know, we ain't exactly squeaky clean, are we? We ain't, Nash, we ain't. If we made something like that, people would think we was up to no good. Well said, Ringo, me old China. Only let ourselves in even more trouble. And in fact now, as a result of lying in your previous testimony, that's exactly what you've done. Landed yourselves in even more trouble. Yeah, well, that's rotten luck. Says the rotten apple eater. Witness says, explain your actions to the court. Why did you ransack the victim's counter? We never ransacked nothing. Right, Nash, right. Well, I tidy the place up. I think Van Zeeks knows that's BS. Oh, sorry. Okay. So, it was when we heard the gunshot, so you made both of us jump and all that stuff went flying. Gotta be next to the counter for that, and that's oddly suspicious. So what you're saying is... the sound of the gunshot shocked you so much you knocked all those things off the counter? Well, it shocked one of us that much, yeah. This bag of nerves needs to learn to keep his shit on. Look, it was loud, alright. By me. My dead granny would have woken up at that bang. Big brother screamed like a blooming baby and fell over the counter. He knocked over a load of books and candlestick and some skull whatnot. I got tangled into some marionette. What knocked over a picture frame, walked over the skulls on the floor. You've really mastered working quietly then. What a racket. Big Reddy would have been scared back into a grave at a clatter like that. So, in short, the gunshot took you by surprise. And then some. I mean, it was quiet as a mouse, and then all of a sudden, BAM! Oh.
Excuse me.
Inspector Gregson, do you have something to add? Well, I can't keep saying I don't appreciate being lumped in with these scoundrels. No, something to add about their testimony. You seemed to react just now to what Mr. Skulkin said. Did it make you think of something? It's probably nothing, of course. I wouldn't even bother to mention it, only... Well, the fact is, cases don't get solved if you ignore the little details. How about you just tell us what's on your mind? As you know, we brought these fellas into the yard for questioning last night, and the statement they gave then told a slightly different story to what they're saying now. Did it? You claimed you heard the victim shout something out before the gunshot. Might have. Does it ring a bell now you mention it? Granted, it's only a minor detail, but still. I can't help but feeling like perhaps you've been a bit sloppy with your testimony here, eh, fellas? If I discover the witness testimony has been any more sloppy than it has ever proven to be, it's just a word, I shall be forced to bring the very harshest punishment to bear against them. Easy. We'll get it right this time. That's it. Yup, it's all coming back to me now. Then speak. Supplement your testimony with whatever details you've miraculously returned to your questionable minds. Sirs. Oh, right you are. Go. Okay, what did he shout out? Just before the gunshot, we heard a voice shouting out, "Give me that gun!"
Hold it!
So, in fact, you heard the voice and the gunshot almost simultaneously? We did, Gov, we did. Although, I suppose if you're being honest, we had a kind of wavering voice before the Eleanor. If you don't want to get shot, give me that gun! Kind of that thing. A career in acting, tragically missed. God damn, Ryunosuke. And where were the voices coming from, could you tell? Of course we could. From the other side of that door behind the counter it was. From the storeroom where the victim was found dead. And then the voice you heard, it was that of the victim, Mr. Winterbank. On me granny's life, of course it was. On his granny's life, of course it was. So that would mean that you both knew Mr. Winterbank and the sound of his voice. So that would mean what? What, Nash? What? Any ideas? Yes, counsel, indeed that would. Oh, they look nervous. No. Wait, we didn't even know the geezer. What am I supposed to deny when that broken fascist cobbler discovered his evil eye? He's in the fancy cobbler, I'll give it to him. If you value your lives, you will ensure your testimony is accurate and true. Oh, on my granny's life it is. On his granny's life it must be. It's a good job his granny's dead. To summarise then, immediately after hearing the voice of the victim, you then hear the gunshot, causing you to stumble and upset the items on the counter, scattering them over the shop floor. You make it sound like we're clumsy. Don't forget we tied it up after, like good little boys. Anyway, the way I see it. Okay, the bloke what owned the place was holding the gun, so we should have fired instead of yelling at the girl. Oh, is that new? Okay. Dimikoff, right. That's also new, isn't it? We took everything back. Sorry, I am completely messing up here. I think I've... No. This is why I should be patient. But got on the place holding guns, we should just fire instead of yelling at the girl. I think we will press that as well. You're saying that Mr. Winterbank had a gun in his hands? Oh yeah, bet that was a sight, eh? Then two waving guns at each other must have got pretty heated. I mean, just before he shouted out, we heard the geezer say, "If you don't want to get shot." Didn't really sound like he meant it, mind. More of an empty threat, you could say. Mr. Winterbank was known to keep a revolver on his shop counter at all times. People say that to protect the articles in his keeping, he'd readily put a bullet in someone's head if required. That someone being himself, of course. Good grief! Extraordinary devotion indeed, if alarmingly misguided. Well, he certainly sounded like he was ready to pull the trigger the other night. Only person he was gonna shoot beat him to it. Cooked his goose proper. Bet you wished you'd squeeze the trigger instead of wasting time shouting, "Give me that gun." And it was directly after those words that you heard the gunshot. It was more or less at the same time, Gov. Give me that gun. Bam! Can't do that thing. Yes, a career in acting very tragically missed. Then we heard the sound of someone in the deck, before everything went dead quiet. After that, we'd done a slash-dip job tidying the place up. Okay, that screams to me. I don't know, I feel like I can present something there, but I don't know what. Pawnbroker's ticket, something to do with the amount of guns at the scene is kind of what's screaming to me here. Do we know... Hang on a second. Guns. Winterbank's gun, Skulkin Brothers' gun. Single round was fired. There are signs of a single discharge. So, they can't be holding guns at each other if there's only one gun in the shop. Saying that they didn't shoot them, if that makes sense. But I don't know how in the hell I would say that. Also, bullet wound from the black would imply to me that he was shot through the door. With his back while he was aiming a gun at Gina. But I have no way to prove that at the moment. Okay, so, oh no, Gina does have a gun. But they're in the storeroom at that time, and he's clearly not holding their gun. I really think we need to press more somehow. So I'm gonna do that. So, only gun, we've pressed that. Didn't give me half a fright, was thinking the shooter would come out the door and get us next. Stuck everything back, we found it and scampered straight into the black. We couldn't have shot the pawnbroker, see? We never even had a chance, did we? I'm going to press that, because I think what I just said might tie into that. And why should we believe that? What? Well, because it's true, innit? The place was totally empty when we went in. At that time, the victim was already in the storeroom, having been forced to open the door by the accused who had a gun to his head. In other words, on the night in question, these two witnesses never even laid eyes on the proprietor of the pawnbroker, Mr. Winterbank. Correct? You've got it, mister! Down to a T! So the Skulkin Brothers never actually encountered Mr. Winterbank? Is that really true, I wonder? Oh, okay. And then what you say here? That's it? That's the full extent of their testimony? What is it, Bruno? You look very fierce. I could put you some herbal tea if you're tired. Oh, thank you, but I'm fine. Being such a logical thinker, you'll probably laugh, but I feel as though these brothers are still hiding something important. It is nothing more than a feeling, though. I've got no proof to support it. Well, feelings can be very logical at times. Sorry? People's expressions, the movement of their eyes, the words they choose. You can take all that in and your brain will quietly analyse it to come up with a feeling like you describe. You've concluded that there's something suspicious about this testimony without knowing why, that's all. I think you should trust your instincts. Iris. Thank you? Sometimes I think she's 10 years old, I must be 5. Oh god. Okay, so... Ryunosuke doubted the fact that they'd ever encountered him, but that's really difficult. We never even had a chance. Okay, this is taking me forever to figure out. We have a photo right here showing that when they were discovered, he wasn't holding a gun unless someone stole it. But in this statement here, he was holding a gun, but he's not in the photo. That took forever. I'm just thick. And sorry, I've practiced, I'll admit. So you're saying that on the night in question, the victim, Mr. Winterbank, was wielding a gun? Is that correct? That's it, Gov. You got the picture. He has, Nash, he has. No question. And yet, photographic evidence obtained immediately after the incident clearly shows that Mr. Winterbank was not holding a firearm of any description. You what? Gordon Bennett, that ain't right.
Objection!
There can be no question that the victim's revolver was used in the incident. I would remind the court that Mr. Winterbank's gun was found at the scene. Not only was it identified as the murder weapon, but it was found in the accused's hand. Okay, so we know it was that one used to shoot him. Well, because they don't have ballistic markings now, but hey, they discerned it, that's what matters. Yeah, that mortal used the victim's own gun to finish him off. Give me that gun. Bam. That's not right, actually. Oh. I'm with you now. Okay, it's starting to piece together in my head. Stay exactly where you are, right there. Eh? If that crime had taken place as you've so colourfully described in your testimony, it would give rise to an undeniable and significant inconsistency in the final moments you just acted out. Goodness, are you sure, counsel? You intrigue me, my learned friend, but let's see some evidence to support your claim. Where is the proof that demonstrates this inconsistency in the witness's portrayal of the victim's final moments? It's going to be the autopsy report because it says he was shot in the back.
Take that!
According to their testimony, the witnesses claim to have heard a shout of, "Give me that gun," followed by the gunshot. Indeed, with the two events happening almost simultaneously, or so we've been led to believe. Yes, that's right. Now, if that testimony is true, it would mean that at the moment of death, the victim and his attacker would have been facing each other. However, in the autopsy report, it clearly states that the victim died instantly after being shot from behind. Ah. So, as I stated before, there is an undeniable inconsistency in your testimony, Mr. and Mr. Skulkin. Yeah. Oh, here we go. Wait, there's something biting me, hang on. Die. I'm trying to record the Ace Attorney, motherfucker. But, it's not the God's the truth. It is nice, it is. Why we were shot that night. The shopkeeper had a gun in his hand. We saw it with our own bleeding eyes. Did I hear you right just now? You actually saw Mr. Winterbank holding a gun, but they said they didn't. Something like that might have slipped out. Ladies and gentlemen, you have all just heard the admission by these two witnesses that on the night in question they actually saw, with both their own eyes, the victim wielding a gun. Which can only mean that despite their testimony to the contrary, the Skulkin Brothers must have encountered the victim in person. Nash? Yeah. Good job. Jesus. Order. Witnesses, explain yourselves at once. Well, thing is, we weren't supposed to, It would seem that my previous warning fell on deaf ears. I made it quite clear that false witnesses would be the death of you. Oh, I do understand that you replaced the untruth of your original testimony with renewed lies. Ever so sorry, Governor. Truth is, we see, Cut it out, Nash, cut it out! If we blab now, you know what it'll do to us. He? Who are they talking about? Let me make your position here perfectly clear. You will talk. There is no other option available to you. Oh. Bruv, come on, the game's up! But he'll have our guts for garters. In case it hasn't quite sunk in yet, no matter how hard you try to hide it, the truth will come out. On the night in question, it is now apparent that you brothers met face-to-face with the victim. I demand that you testify again to explain the precise circumstances in which this meeting took place. Well... Do we have to? On pain of death. I suggest you make yourselves fully aware that this is your very last chance to tell the truth. Oh, okay, this is where it gets spicy. Let's do it. Encounter with the victim. Alright, so we just got inside the gaff and he decided to sigh of relief when the geezer showed his mug. Give me that gun, he bellowed, and then he thought I was like he was possessed. I thought we'd had it. For an old geezer, the bloke was strong as an ox. He chucked me over the counter. I pulled me gun on him, and then he legged it through that door into the back room. We ain't never had nothing to do with killing him. That's all what happened, I swear. Okay, where's Gina in all of this? So you're now telling us that the moments before the victim was killed in the storeroom, you in fact encountered him in the main part of the shop? Well, yeah. Sorry. Well, we find ourselves at an interesting juncture. This changes matters considerably. But honest, Governor, this time, Nash, this time, we ain't got nothing more to hide. Very well. Counsel for the defense, you may proceed with your cross-examination. Yes, my lord. This is it. The moment I've been waiting for. Okay. I don't know how to tackle this, if I'm being entirely honest. So they just got inside and heaved a sigh of relief. Why are we having a sigh of relief? Maybe that's unrelated, but I'll bear that in mind. Give me that gun he bellowed, and then he feels like he was possessed. Okay, so we just wants to stop them. I don't think there's anything else for that. For an old geezer, bloke was strong as an ox. Chucked us over the counter. I've pulled my gun on him, and he legged it through that door into the back room. Again, there's nothing much more I can elaborate on. It's like, now what's this? We never had nothing to do with killing him. That's all what happened, I swear. I need more on that. That's the only thing I can really make him elaborate on. You say you had nothing to do with it? Nothing at all. Nothing, Gov. Nothing. The old geezer went and shot himself in the back room, didn't he? Locked it was, from the inside. We'd know it was because we tried to open it. But it's a decent door, that one, good and strong. Wouldn't budge an inch. So, in the end, the situation remains unchanged. Inside the storeroom with the pawnbroker, there was only one other person. The sole person who could possibly have shot the victim, the accused, Miss Gina Lestrade. It would indeed appear so. What say you to that, counsel? I don't know. Was there anyone else apart from Gina who could have possibly shot Mr. Winterbank? I think I have to say yes, clearly. Mr. and Mr. Skulkin. What? What should I look for? From the moment you admitted that you encountered the victim face to face that night, the course of this trial changed completely. It did. What is your point, my learned friend? The question we must answer is who could have shot Mr. Winterbank, and it is the belief of the defense that the defendant is not the only possible answer at all. You have my attention. In that case, let us return to this plan of the premises. Okay. The victim was killed in the storeroom, which was locked from the inside. Those are the facts. So pray, what other possible answers to the question of who shot the man could there be? Counsel, you must now provide answers to the court in respect of 2 conundrums. 2, my lord? Twice as many chances to be right, maybe? Indeed, namely, from what location did the culprit shoot the victim? And furthermore, where was the victim at the time? Understood, my lord. You're all right, Bruno. I'm not entirely sure, but there's one thing I am sure about. If I can prove that there's a credible new alternative to what happened, it would change Gina's prospects hugely. So now, time for some clarity. Show the court on this plan the answers to the questions posed by his lordship. I think I know this. If you believe someone could have killed the victim, indicate from where that person could have fired the gun. I'm thinking directly outside the storeroom and through the door. And
take that!
I think that's the best I've got. The defense believes that the culprit could have shot the victim from this location here. And in answer to the second question, assuming the culprit fired from the location indicated, where was the victim at the time? I'm going to say just behind the door after having got him.
Take that!
The culprit shot the victim from outside the storeroom. Continue. Mr. Winterbank died instantly from a bullet wound in his back. Looking at the stain of blood on the storeroom floor, it doesn't appear that the body was moved after death, which tells us that he was almost certainly shot while he was in the storeroom. However, the crucial point is, where was the shooter when the fatal bullet was fired? So you are adamant that the shot was fired from outside the storeroom? Well, according to the Skulkin Brothers' earlier testimony, I pulled my gun on him and then he legged it through that door into the back room. If Mr. Winterbank ran away through the door, we have to assume that the door was open at the time. Ah! It was at precisely that moment when the victim was fleeing for his life that these brothers had the perfect opportunity to shoot the man in the back once he was inside the storeroom. Yeah, go on. Come to think of it, do you remember what happened when the prosecutor said at the start of the trial? Moving on to the findings of Scotland Yard's coroner, his report states that the bullet entered the body on a rising diagonal trajectory. It means the victim was likely shot by someone significantly shorter in height than himself. Poor man, shot while he was running as fast as he could to safety. Ah, of course! He would have been leaning forward as he was running away. So even if the bullet was fired horizontally, it would still have entered his body on an upward trajectory. So the culprit isn't necessarily someone shorter than Mr. Winterbank.
Objection!
I'm sure my learned friend can't have forgotten that the storeroom door was found closed and locked from the inside. You claim the victim was shot as he fled into the room. Do you also claim his corpse was dexterous enough to turn the key in the lock? Oh, but... What if someone else locks the door? Yes! There is someone who could have locked the storeroom door. Is that so? Very well then, counsel. Present your hypothesis to the court. In the scenario you just described, the defence's assertion is that the victim was shot from outside the storeroom. In which case, who shot and locked the storeroom door from the inside? It's gotta be Gina, right? Surely. Gina, there you are.
Take that!
Obviously, the person who locked the door was the only other person inside the storeroom at the time. The defendant, Miss Gina Lestrade.
Objection!
That's absurd. You're suggesting that the accused deliberately engineered the sealed room? But for what possible reason? Such actions would only serve to tighten the noose around her neck. I am inclined to agree, I must say. Well, counsel? So she didn't get shot as well, I presume? Ah, yes, that's a tricky one, that isn't it? Half-baked notions have no place in my courtroom, counsel. Remember that, please. But of course, Ginny would have locked the door. It almost goes without saying, doesn't it? It does? Well, if I was Ginny in that situation, I know I would have locked the door as quickly as I could. I mean, those two burglars had just fired a gun in her direction, hadn't they? Oh yeah, obviously. Before the two brothers arrived, Miss Lestrade and Mr. Winterbank were in the storeroom together. Now, I don't know what went on between them at that time, but at some point, Mr. Winterbank must have heard the intruders breaking into his shop and left the storeroom. Intruders, eh? That's just proof. If your theory is correct, that would leave the accused alone in the storeroom. Yes, it would. Then, probably only moments later, the victim fled back through the storeroom door, hoping to escape danger. Hit in the back by the bullet, Mr. Winterbank fell to the floor where he was, just inside the storeroom. And what we have to ask ourselves now is, what would the defendant have done in that moment? I see where he's going with this! Outside the storeroom was a terrifying killer who had just murdered Mr. Winterbank. As soon as that thought struck Miss Lestrade, she slammed the door shut and locked it, in order to save her own life.
Hold it!
But, we ain't the ones who done it. We ain't, Gov, we ain't. You gotta believe us. I mean, come on, we never shoot no one.
Objection!
You shot Sholmes. That's blatantly untrue. I know for a fact you would. Because before my own eyes, you shot Mr. Herlock Sholmes. There is only one logical conclusion here. Mr. and Mr. Skulkin, you brothers had every opportunity to have been the true perpetrators of Mr. Winterbank's murder. Where does this leave us? You mean to say it wasn't the pickpocket who shot the pawnbroker after all? I should have known it was those three brothers. They look as shady as a dense forest. That was amazing, Bruno. All the members of the jury seem to be firmly on your side now. I know, first time ever, and probably the last. Well, I think you've done it. Surely they'll have to give a verdict of not. An admirable effort, my learned friend. What's this now? He's laughing. You find the situation amusing, Lord Van Zeeks. I find myself that the defendant's argument is most persuasive. I dare say, such chicanery is the bread and butter of the street performers in your provincial eastern nation. But such blatantly malicious conjecturing tricks do amount nothing more to an excusable pettifoggery here. What? The hypothesis you put forward so ostensibly credibly will not stand. Because, you see, it contains a fatal flaw. A fatal flaw? Do you mean to tell me that you're unaware of your own logic's failing? I say, Lord Van Zeeks. Might be an idea to explain this bally-conjuring trick or whatever it is the troops on the ground, The fatal flaw is my learned friend's argument, being very simple to understand. Assuming you're not too dim-witted to count bullets. By George, count bullets! Oh dear. He noticed then. Huh? What's everyone talking about? Counsel. Yes, sir! Tell the court how many bullets were found at the scene of the crime. 2. 2 bullets. Correct. The first, that which hit the victim in the back, ending his life. And the second, that which struck the detective, Mr. Herlock Sholmes, on his arrival at the scene. Indeed. The defense presented a picture showing the damage caused by the second bullet earlier in the proceedings. The bullet which injured Mr. Sholmes appeared to have passed through his body to strike the calendar. Your lordship's understanding is correct. Furthermore, we know there are 2 firearms involved in this incident. The revolver belonging to the victim, Mr. Winterbank, and the Skulkin Brothers' revolver. The evidence shows that a single bullet was fired from each gun. Yes, indeed it does. A single bullet from each. Now then, my learned friend. You yourself told the court only moments ago that these 2 brothers shot Mr. Herlock Sholmes right before your eyes. Yes, I did. Oh my goodness, I think you'll find that if the single bullet was fired from the brothers' gun hit Mr. Sholmes, it means... Winterbank not shot by same gun. Stop. Only 1 bullet. Stop. Exactly. Yes, this Nipponese street performer presented an ostensibly credible argument. However, it was never anything more than a diversionary trick with no hope of standing up to scrutiny. Ugh. We need to find another gun, don't we? Order! Pray forgive the discourtesy of flinging the dregs of this hallowed nectar into the public gallery. Lord Van Zeeks. But this court needs to open its eyes. The accused, Miss Jean Lestrade, is no ordinary little girl. Despite her young years, she can, regrettably, no longer be described as a juvenile. No, the person in the dock is far from a law-abiding citizen. She has a past riddled with criminal conduct. The truth is, the accused broke into the pawnbrokery on the night in question with loathsome intent. As we can see beyond doubt in this print which depicts her threatening the victim with a murder weapon. And I have here in my possession one more piece of evidence that the prosecution wishes to present. That disc. I'll be taking whatever it is that Mr. McGill is answering off, thank you very much. No, don't. Give it to him. It's mine, that is mine. I'm sorry, miss, but anything belonging to McGilded has to be taken in as evidence now. Yes, that music box disc. Mr. McGilded's music box disc. The very day before the hateful murder of Mr. Winterbank, the accused attempted to make off with this article which clearly doesn't belong to her. And with none of the subtlety of a pickpocket, I might add, but by brute force and by brazen impotence. Good gracious. Make no mistake, any sympathy for the accused on account of her years is misguided and dangerous. There are no depths to which this girl wouldn't stoop if pushed, no crime she would not commit. The court forgets that act at its peril. I see. I think it would be prudent to take this music box disc into evidence counsel, as a grim testament to the defendant's character. Lord Van Zeeks, Inspector Gregson. What? Yes, Inspector? We had a meeting yesterday at the yard with the prosecution service, and, I think it was agreed that our disc wouldn't be used as evidence. What's this all about? Why is the Inspector acting strangely? That's the first time he said anything to Van Zeeks at all. I'm unaware of any such meeting.
But those are the instructions, right from the top. The government bigwigs were insistent.
Inspector, I'm the prosecutor, and I alone determine how to present my case. Your warning is noted. Thank you. The prosecution wishes to proceed with submitting this disc as evidence, my lord.
Indeed, bailiff.
The music box disc has been entered into the court record. That is odd. The prosecution has established the accused's motive, opportunity, and baseness of character. There is nothing more to add. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I await your informed decisions, and rest my case. He's got us good. I don't believe it. I had the jury on my side for once, for all 5 minutes. Oh dear, it wasn't even for 5 minutes, Runo.
My lord! Wonder if I might say something at this point? Proceed, Mr. Foreman. Been stumbling in about a bit of a fog until now, if truth be told, but all of a sudden, the answer's fully obvious to me and my men, and there's only one thing for it. Oh no. Very well, the court will hear from the jury. Ladies and gentlemen, you will present your leanings to the defendant's culpability.
Guilty.
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 Here we go again. I said it like it's a bad thing. I enjoy summation examinations more than I probably should, but that's fine. We just gotta make it back in the favour of ourselves.
We have a consensus among the jury, it seems.
When you have eliminated the impossible, whatever remains must be the truth. That's my line. I wrote that for Hurley. Ugh, how dare he use it against us? Don't worry, Iris. I don't think we're finished yet. There's still more to this case than we realise. There must be, because there's one thing that I'm absolutely certain of. Gina didn't shoot Mr. Winterbank. That's beyond any doubt.
Very well. We will proceed with the second summation examination of the day. Mr. Foreman, are you and the other jurors ready? Garineb Squadron is primed and ready for action, sir. Very good. So, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you will each explain on what grounds you have now determined the defendant to be guilty.
Okay, and I think we may end this episode here. We shall see. Depends on how long it takes, but judicial findings. The jurors' contentions. Before we do this, actually, I want to go onto the court record and just check if there's anything interesting with Music Box. So first of all, smudge of blood. Oh, Runo, look. This is blood. Yes, you're right. Just a small smear, but definitely blood. Actually, I feel as though I might have noticed that before. Haha, then it's my time to shine again. I thought I'd be waiting forever. Alright, hold still with that disc, Runo. Can we get this done quickly, Iris? In a flash. What colour is it? If it's not Winterbanks, we're in for a good time. Oh. Ooh, a lovely bright shade again. Wait, that colour. What is it? It's just that green. It's not the first time we've seen that colour, is it? The blood samples portfolio has been updated in the court record. Oh, that's spicy meatball. And then 2 McGilded or 4 McGilded. 4 McGilded? That's the man you defended in court a couple of months ago, isn't it, Runo? Yes, or rather, mistakenly defended. I wonder what his name is doing on the back of this disc. That's a question I'd love to know the answer to myself. So that seems like everything for now, but I'm going to also just check the blood samples portfolio, because it's like, that's screaming to me that there is a spicy meatball in there. Where are you? There you are. Okay, so, unknown, thrice-fired mason, pop Winterbank, unknown again. I assume that's Shomes, but it could also not be. Either way, I think that's going to come in handy. So, oh, I didn't read his book. Should we skim through these and read them at the actual thing? Now we'll do it now. There's only 2 bullets were found at the scene. I would dare say this whole case is done and dusted. You don't need a stereoscope to see the truth here. Everywhere you look at it, it was that pickpocket.
Oh, I never imagined that simple operation would cause me such grief.
The accused attempted a theft on the previous day. I can see I'm in for a busy day ahead.
I am ballistics expert. I have seen many shootings. There is nothing I do not know about guns.
He seems really helpful.
It would seem that there is little remaining room for doubt. I have to admit, I was rather bowled over by the argument he put forward by the chap in black. But when that fell apart like a house of cards, I saw that I'd jolly well been hoodwinked. Well, no more. The whole courtroom is turning against me.
It's not fair. Iris. That prosecutor's being mean. Just because Ginny's done some things she shouldn't have done in the past, that doesn't make her a murderer.
Allow me to savour this fruity vintage while I savour the spectacle of your fruitless debate on the matter. Here's to the truth coming out. Eventually. That's enough preamble. Counsel, proceed with the summation examination.
Let's do this. Yes, my lord.
Okay. I feel as though I kind of know where to look for this. Because I feel as though those blood samples are going to be it. Once a rogue, always a rogue, I say. Different breach to us, Lord of Banks, and you're going to be useless, so I'll press you in a bit. As only 2 bullets were found at the scene, I would dare say this whole case is done and dusted. I want to press you first, because you're giving us nothing.
Would you please stop muttering about things that have nothing to do with this trial, sir? The defendant's life is on the line here.
Well, thing is, I couldn't really say that it is nothing to do with this trial, to be honest.
Huh?
I mean, there's no question that the man that was shot, but the bullet had simply vanished from his stomach. It's quite inexplicable, don't you think?
I almost don't want to ask, but this surgery you've been muttering about all this time, you were operating on...
What was the fellow's name now? Hurwich? No. Herlock? No, Hairlock?
Herlock Sholmes, by any chance?
Yes, good lord! It was that Hairlock fellow.
What? You're the surgeon that operated on Mr. Sholmes.
That's right. Using the very latest anesthesia techniques, I might add. It was a fairly major op, I can tell you.
This is crazy!
Let me see. The fellow was brought in not long after midnight, if I remember correctly. They said he'd been shot by some criminal or other, so I opened him up like a shot. But the funny thing is, I went over to his insides with a fine-tooth comb and couldn't find the bullets anywhere. So I'm afraid I had to throw my hands up and just stitch the fellow back up.
I hate to state the obvious, but...
Yes?
Surely that's because the bullet is still at the scene of the shooting.
The counsel for the defense is correct. As is clearly shown in this photographic print. The bullet that the Skulkin Brothers fired at Mr. Sholmes hit him in the stomach region, then exited his body and lodged into the shop wall while the calendar was hanging by the door.
I think you'll find it is really quite simple if you just consider the problem 3-dimensionally.
Oh, who do you think I am, son?
Well, juror number 4 is about the best I can do.
As soon as I saw the wounds to the man's stomach, I flipped him over.
Like a pancake. Are you saying that you checked his back?
Of course I did. And there wasn't a trace of injury. No sign that the bullet had left the body at all.
Oh! What?
That's the point. The only logical conclusion was that the bullet was still somewhere in the man's innards. Which is exactly why I set about slicing him up. And I'm still none the wiser even now. How many times do I have to say it? Can somebody please explain how it happened? Can somebody please solve this mystery?
It's almost as much of a mystery as how this jury was put together. The mystery of where that bullet ended up is infuriating. Where's an expert when you need one? You seem like the right man to ask.
Hold it!
I thought you were just a tourist. Good day. I am visiting London for sightseeing. I would like to take bus to Crystal Tower, please. There's no way he's just a visiting tourist. So, you're a ballistics expert. Who knew? I have much experience with guns. Ah. I have lived through many, how do you say, extreme, violent bath of, blood of, extreme violent bloodbaths, perhaps. Those extreme violent bloodbaths. English is really difficult tongue. Considering the sort of people you associate with, I'm surprised you still have a tongue. Anyway, if you have questions about bullets and guns, you ask me. There is nothing I do not know, no mystery I cannot solve. He's very confident in his knowledge of guns, that's for sure. But, if possible, please, only in Russian language. He's not very confident in his knowledge of English, though, is he? No, still, we should bear it in mind. He's our man if there's a mystery about guns or bullets. Perfect. So I assume he's going to update? No, okay. So Van Zieks has managed to convince everyone. Well, you have eliminated the impossible, he said. But he hasn't. If we're going to fight back, we need more material. And we have to fight back. We have to turn this trial around again. Fortunately for us, I think I know exactly how we do it. We're going to pit jury number 4 against jury number 6 and find out how this mystery can exactly go and be solved. These two statements clearly contradict. The idea that I do is pit jurors against... I'm sorry, am I having a stroke? These two statements clearly contradict the idea that all I do is pit jurors against each other.
Oh, a ballistics expert.
Pitting. P-I-T-T. On the night in question, Mr. Sholmes was shot by one of the Skulkin Brothers. But since there was no sign of an exit wound on his back, we must assume the bullet didn't pass through him. However, no bullet was found lodged in Mr. Sholmes' body either. Furthermore, a bullet was found lodged in the wall of the shop where Mr. Sholmes was shot. Jury number 6. Hello, my name is Villain. Pleased to meet you. This apparent contradiction in the facts is so clearly troubling jury number 4. Are you able to explain the mystery? I have seen very similar situation in Motherland. It was night, there was blizzard, I was running away along Mountain Road and facing God.
Golly.
The snow was piling high on both sides of the road, it was very narrow and dangerous. My pursuers had hunting rifles and they were on dog sleds. Mental note, don't ask too many questions. I was shot from behind and I fell down in snow. And this situation was very similar to what I hear today from Doctor. They could not find bullet in my body, and no sign of, how do you say, exit wound.
Then where did the bullet go?
Bullet never hit me.
Well, if it never hit you, why did you fall down?
Bullet hit frozen wall of ice very close to my side. What? One small piece, very sharp, broke away from the lump of ice and pierced my body. It made deep wound that looked just like bullet wound.
Good gracious.
Of course, piece of ice quickly melted inside me. And that is my solution to mystery of disappearing bullet.
But that doesn't answer the question at all. The shooting happened at a pawnbroker's shop.
Oh, apologies.
But not some snowy mountain road in another country.
Just an idea, but we might not be looking at exactly the same scenario here. Bruno, where exactly was Hurley shot again? Well, according to the report, in his stomach, sort of around this area, I think. Well, that's precisely where he always wears a little pouch on his belt. Pouch? Actually, I might have noticed something like that. Yes, a pouch. It's where he keeps 3 glass vials of very dangerous chemicals that he uses in his investigations. What? Really? Doctor, where is this pouch Mr. Sholmes was wearing?
Well, the fellow had nothing like that on his person when he arrived at the hospital, as far as I remember.
If I may, Lord Van Zieks? Well, I realise it is forbidden for the prosecution to interject during a summation exclamation, I should inform the defense that I have the pouch in question in the antechamber outside the courtroom. Sorry? As I understand it, when the police arrived on the scene and found Mr. Sholmes injured, they removed the pouch in order to assess the wound.
Ah, thank goodness. I thought I was getting forgetful for a moment.
Since then, this has been in my safekeeping, along with all other evidence relating to this case. I can personally vouch for the fact that it has not been touched since the incident occurred.
Very well. While extremely unconventional during a summation exhumation, I must demand that the prosecution presents the item in question with all speed. Bring forth Mr. Sherlock Holmes's pouch.
Nope, Sherlock Holmes. It gets difficult sometimes.
I see. So this is the pouch worn by Mr. Sholmes on the night in question, is it?
Look at that! One of the files is broken and the leather around it is scorched black. It's almost as if the file exploded.
Exploded?
So, that night, the bullet from the Skulkin Brothers' gun struck Mr. Sholmes' pouch.
And it was the glass file exploding that caused the fellow's injury.
This bullet did not penetrate the victim, but was deflected into a wall of shop. A delightfully complex aroma.
Well, it would appear one mystery has been solved at least.
Though it has no bearing on the truth of this case. The bungling and burgling brothers shot the detective, and the accused shot the pawnbroker. The pertinent facts of the case remain unaltered.
Ugh. But at least the mystery is solved. I can sleep easy tonight. Thank you, young man.
Da. Thank you very much. Glad I could help.
Due to its bearing on the conundrum just solved, the court will subsequester this scruffy pouch as evidence.
Whose pouch isn't scruffy? Sholmes' pouch has been entered into the court record.
Now, the summation exhumation? It would appear the defense is somewhat struggling to alter opinion,
Please, my lord, a little more time. After all, that's a very new piece of evidence. It could be a valuable clue, and you can't afford to overlook anything here, Ryunosuke. There's still a way to turn this around, somehow. I'm sure of it. Okay, if there is a bullet in that, we have won, I believe. Okay, so investigate you, and then, oh, guess who it is? Guess again. Wrong. It's a bullet. This file has been smashed to pieces. Presumably this is where the bullet struck. As soon as the bullet hit the chemical in that file, there would have been a really big explosion. A big explosion? Well, Hilly's potions and chemicals are amazingly useful for any investigation he does, but they're also quite tricky to handle, safely at least. They're very dangerous. Oh. I'm sure that when this file broke, the chemical inside would have ignited. Note to self, always walk on the right-hand side of Sholmes in future. The left is the danger zone. But we see the bullet, unless... is this the bullet? Maybe? Oh look, there's a hole here at the back. It doesn't look much like a bullet hole, but clearly something's ripped through the leather with great force. Something must have paid it somehow to leave this hole behind. Yes, it looks that way. Mr. Sholmes and his pouch both took a beating, didn't they? No, I can see the bullet, game. I can see the bullet. This vial has been smashed to pieces. No. There must be a thing to, like, unbuckle the vial thing, right? Because it's underneath the strap. Is that what we're going for? Can I, like, lift this up? I can. It's really scorched badly just here. Oh, the strap is broken, look. This must be where the bullet hit then. Let me see. Gotcha. Bada bing, bada boom. What the? Iris, look! Behind where the broken file was. Do you see it? Ah, that's the Skulkin Brothers bullet. What a stroke of luck that it hit its pouch. This is an amazing discovery. What this means is, there were 3 bullets fired at Winterbanks that night. We found exactly what that juror was talking about. The 3rd bullet. It's time to press that juror again, I think. 3rd bullet. Oh yes. Oh yes. So I assume juror number 2. Maybe? Yes. You. It's the number of bullets that has you convinced. Only 2 bullets were fired, and the 2 guns that fired have been examined by the police. When the parlour maid asks me how many are invited for dinner, I always tell her to count the table settings. Well, that's logical, I suppose. Although, Yes? Sometimes after dining, crockery does go missing. One or two guests rather like fine china. Does your employer dine with thieves? So I suppose. If there was another bullet somewhere of which we were unaware, I'd have to reconsider my position. A third bullet somewhere on the scene? Could that be possible? I can prove it. Allow me to show you then. The third bullet.
Take that!
Here it is. We discovered it just now. Yeah, on the night in question in Winterbank's pawnbrokery, another bullet was fired.
Hold it!
What is this new trickery, you Nipponese conjecturer? Where did you find that bullet? It was lodged inside Mr. Sholmes's pouch. What? This pouch was removed from around Mr. Sholmes's waist before he was taken to hospital, and since then it has been touched by no one.
Do you mean to say the shot fired by the Skulkin Brothers that night?
Yes, as your lordship has surmised, it hit this pouch.
But that makes no sense whatsoever. We already know the whereabouts of the bullet fired at Mr. Sholmes. It's clearly visible in this photographic print.
Ah. 2 guns from the scene have always been submitted into the court record as evidence.
Yes, that of Mr. Winterbank and that belonging to the Skulkin Brothers.
An examination of both guns revealed that only a single bullet had been fired from each. Ah! But that must mean... That's right. We now know that on the night in question, 3 bullets were fired. However, only 2 bullets were fired from the guns recovered from the crime scene. And until that incontrovertible inconsistency is somehow explained, we cannot and must not pass judgment. Ugh.
Order. While the summation examination remains incomplete, the court has been presented with new facts. Facts that would appear to shake the very foundations upon which the case against the defendant has been built. As is my prerogative in this situation, I hereby temporarily suspend the summation examination.
By Jupiter!
What? Bailiff, bring the witnesses back to the stand at once.
Okay. Things are starting to look spicy.
Witnesses.
Governor?
Were you listening to proceedings while the defense carried out the summation examination?
We was, Governor, we was. Perhaps we can dispense with a tedious preamble, simply answer this one question. A third bullet has been identified at the scene of the crime. What do you make of that? Make of it, Gov? I didn't make nothing, and I can help it. Is it one of yours?
Go by me, Gov, go by me. Not a chance.
In that case, did you have an accomplice?
What? What? Never. This is Skulkin Brothers work alone. It's just the 2 of us. That's our trademark.
How soon we forget poor Sulky. Only 2 of the bullets from the crime scene originated from the firearms we have in evidence. The third bullet was fired from another gun. Where is it?
Wobby, that's an head scratcher. Counsel for the defense.
Yes.
I should like to hear your thoughts regarding these new developments. The third bullet and the mysterious missing firearm from whence it came.
Thinking back over all the testimony we've heard and all the evidence we've seen, I think I'm starting to form a picture of what really happened that night. My lord, I think it's clear what this third bullet tells us about the Skulkin Brothers. They had another gun, it's nothing to do with them, they had a secret accomplice. I assume secret accomplice is the way to go. On that night at Winterbank's pawnbrokery, the brothers must have been working with a third man. The witnesses are clearly doing their best to cover up the existence of this accomplice. But the evidence all points to the fact that there was someone else present. Someone carrying a gun. Don't know why I read that like I was reading out a Kill Count script. It's like, I'm James A. Janice, and this is the third culprit. An accomplice, you say? Pixwell. These protracted proceedings already forced us to endure 2 summation exhumations, yet in all that time there has been not a murmur of a third man. If this apparently wraith-like being exists, The court must be shown hard evidence. Without it, this fantasy will be crushed. Ugh. The prosecution demands answers on 2 counts. Firstly, proof, evidence that this accomplice was ever at the scene of the crime. And secondly, the identity of this spurious character. Skulkin's lying, I know that. But how can I ascertain the identity of the person they're hiding? I mean, there's not many people in the case, so I think we can just process of elimination it. But we'll see.
War Council.
I'm supposed to prove the existence of this accomplice, and reveal the person's identity even. In response to the prosecution's demands, my lord, the defense is ready to present answers. The defense is ready. I believe I can provide all the answers the prosecution demands. So, my Nipponese friend, despite the swimming eyes, you seem to think you have something to say. This promises to be interesting. I have to push forward now. There's no other option. I need to use every single piece of evidence available to me if it will make a difference.
In that case, Counsel, I would ask for you to present the evidence without delay. On the night in question, in the moments leading up to the death of the victim, what proof have you that there was a 3rd intruder present at the scene?
I'm going to say blood samples because we still have someone that's unknown in them. The evidence is right here, in this portfolio.
By Jove, that portfolio again, is it?
Do you expect the court to rifle through your papers itself? Be more specific. You claim one of those blood samples proves the presence of this 3rd intruder? Well, which one is it? I'm going to say number 1, because it's the only one we don't know.
What am I looking at here? There appears to be some green paint or such like around the bullet hole in the middle of the calendar.
That's a blood stain, my lord.
A blood stain?
Green blood. Curious, even for you. Is the court to understand that the intruder was some unhuman creature? It's something developed by Mr. Herlock Sholmes. By the great detective.
New invention. Stop. Not yet appeared in stories. Stop.
It's this, you see. It doesn't have a name yet, though. This fogger sprays a chemical that reacts with different elements in people's blood to change its colour.
Different elements of people's blood?
Yes. Everyone's blood is slightly different, you see, because it's made up of different elements. So by seeing what colour it changes to, you can tell in a flash whose blood it is.
Ooh, that brings a whole extra dimension to looking at blood. Talk of blood in courtroom, stop. Very exciting, stop.
As an example, this one shows the blood of the victim, Mr. Winterbank.
Ah, striking blue.
Yes, so you see the green colour of this blood stain on the calendar shows that somebody else was shot in the main part of the shop.
Now all the fire there, young man, could be from some unrelated incident, couldn't it?
No, it's not unrelated. The date showing on the calendar is the date on which Mr. Winterbank was killed.
By golly.
Therefore, we can assume that whoever was shot on the same day.
Then whose blood is it?
Well, the Skulkin Brothers in the stand don't appear to be suffering from any gunshot injuries. Which means it must be the blood of somebody else. The 3rd intruder, in fact.
Objection.
Whose identity the court is still waiting to hear. You can't delay this any longer, my learned friend. Who is this alleged 3rd intruder? So I'm going to go through these and you realise how obvious this is. So first and foremost, you're already here, and you're the prosecutor. There is like no feasible conclusion that it is you. We know it isn't you because you are the police. She's the defendant. He's dead. She's 10. He got shot, and she's on a boat. Gee, I sure wonder who it is.
Take that!
The man's name is Eggert Benedict.
Eggert Benedict? What on earth are you talking about, Counsel?
He paid a visit to Winterbank's pawnbrokery on the afternoon before the incident took place, when the accused attempted to deceive the pawnbroker into releasing this article into her possession. That's right. The man identified by the defense, Mr. Eggert Benedict, then attempted to take the article from the defendant by force.
Broker? Yes, sir.
I believe this filthy pocket thief has just redeemed an article from you know.
Yes,
The article in question belongs to me. I demand for it to be returned at once.
Now that's a lie. What are you trying to pull?
Give me back my overcoat, you wastrel. I needless to say. Any music box discs too? Don't know why I gave him that voice, but that's the only time he appears in this episode, so we can get away with it. Inspector Gregson was there at the time and can attest to what happened. In the end, it was the inspector himself who took the disc.
Could you corroborate this account, Inspector?
Yes, my lord. That's more or less what happened. And in the interest of being thorough, I asked Winterbank for a print show in the fella.
Oh, okay.
Taken from one of his red-handed recorder scobbinesses. Yes, that's him talking to Mr. Winterbank that morning.
And you claim this man is the brothers' accomplice?
Well, Mr. and Mr. Skulkin. Never seen the geezer before in my life. On my life, never seen him.
Well, somewhat unsurprisingly, it appears our witnesses disagree with the assertion.
I'm sure your lordship recalls my learned Nipponese friend's actual assertion, which was that he could prove the identity of the alleged accomplice. Yes, and I can.
Then show us the evidence.
I agree. We must see proof that the clean-cut gentleman in the photograph is the filthy criminal you say he is. This is the last piece of evidence. I've had a feeling that something has been missing in this trial from the very start, but now I'm going to drag it kicking and screaming into this courtroom.
Are you ready to present your answers to the court, then, counsel?
Yes, my lord. The defence will present the evidence now. Proof that the man pictured in this photographic print was in fact the person struck by the third bullet.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
It can't be that, can it? Actually, did he cut himself on the disc? I don't know if he did. Oh god, I actually have no clue here. Can I review the scene? Right, okay, so we got his hat, he got his thing, he got a cane. Nothing there. Would it be the... No, it can't be the third bullet. It can't be shown as his pouch. Is it the music disc? I think it is. Okay, I can't find anything out of place. And then... Did he prick his thumb? Probably from somebody's fingertip, but not just somebody's fingertip. Mr. Benedict's fingertip. Okay, I just needed that refresher. I am actually now very confident that, yeah, no, he cut himself on the spike, and that is his thing. So... If we have... Okay, I'm with this now. If we have the music disc, which has his blood on it, and his blood is also on the calendar indicating he was shot, then I assume it's the music disc. That or the blood samples, but I think it's gonna be the disc. As I mentioned before on the afternoon of the day in question, the defendants attempted, deceitfully admittedly, to reclaim this disc from Winterbank's.
Which is when the aforementioned Egbert Benedict appeared on the scene, I believe. This man then attempted to purloin the article from the defendant's possession, no?
That's correct, my lord. I myself was present at the time. It was following this that a minor incident occurred.
But of course, sir. Here is the disc for you.
Very well. Then I shall bid you farewell. Say goodbye to style. Wait a minute. That disc is mine.
Ugh. What do you think you're doing, you little tramp? You've drawn blood, you filthy animal.
Being a music box disc, it has countless small but sharp metal protrusions over its surface. Those protrusions caused Mr. Benedict's finger to bleed, and the resulting smear of blood is still visible on the disc now.
Goodness, a blood stain, is it?
My assistants and I have just analysed the bloodstain here in this very courtroom. Using my trusty fogger gun? Yes, and we added the results to this portfolio. I say, it's green. It's exactly the same colour as the blood around the calendar. The evidence is conclusive. The man calling himself Mr. Egbert Benedict, who was in Winterbanks earlier in the day, is the accomplice who was present at the scene of the crime that night. So there was someone else there. We'll go to those two brothers now. They're swimming buckets. Oi, who are you talking about? It's boiling in here. My lord, it is the opinion of the defence that Mr. Egbert Benedict should be summoned to the courtroom to testify.
It would certainly seem that we can ill afford to ignore this gentleman's apparent presence.
This has gone on long enough now. This flagrant ignorance of the mechanics of war. Sherlock Sholmes, you say? Yes, I've heard the name. The protagonist in a series of short stories for the vulgar classes. A god of detection or some such. And now you employ chemical substances devised by this fantastical persona in the highest court in the land. Do you expect us to take you seriously? The samples made by this plaything are not fit to be called evidence. So the bloodstain turned a shade of green. What of it? Here's to you successfully proving that no other blood in the world would turn exactly the same colour. Ah, well. And pray, do not even think of suggesting that we should take Mr. Sholmes' word for it. Is he right? Is Mr. Sholmes' concoction that the...
I don't know, but I mean, he is a great detective.
What are you talking about? We can't let him get away with that. I knew it had come to this. Of course Mr. Sholmes' invention isn't going to be recognised by any official body. But what other choice did I have?
I'm just remembering what Father Christmas over there said before. About how he was temporarily suspending the summation examination. In other words, the examination isn't over yet, is it?
Good grief. What did you just say, young girl?
And in a summation examination, the decision as to whether or not the trial continues is in the hands of the 6 jurors, isn't it? So the way I see it, it doesn't matter what certain other people think of Hurley's invention. At least, not for now.
Yes, she's right.
Young lady, you have quite the devious mind.
It really just comes down to one thing. Whether these ladies and gentlemen of the jury are convinced by what you say, Bruno. Is that about right, would you say? Or did I misunderstand something?
Unbelievable. Mr. Sholmes' partner is a force to be reckoned with.
Iris Wilson, sharpshooter.
After that shrewd praises of the situation is from an entirely unexpected source. It must be acknowledged that the previous summation examination has yet to reach its conclusion.
This is absurd.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, the court now looks to you for your final readings in this matter. As proud citizens of Her Majesty's Britain, I am sure you will come to fair and just conclusions. So then, state your final decisions in turn, please.
Not guilty.
Not guilty.
Not guilty.
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 Not guilty.
I'm surprised the doctor said guilty. And you know when he's headbutting the desk to send this thing in, he probably has brain damage.
2 call guilty, 4 call not guilty. Such is the outcome of the summation examination.
Objection.
My lord, with all due respect, this is an outrage. The prosecution refuses to accept this decision.
On what grounds?
If these jurors are persuaded by some half-baked concoction devised by a pretender to put real police work, then they are too ignorant to be trusted with the judgment of anyone's guilt.
I am sorry, Lord Van Zieks, but the outcome of the summation examination cannot be ignored. This trial will continue.
Ugh. Let's do this.
Nevertheless, we find ourselves in a rather awkward situation. The defense has very reasonably requested the subpoena of a new witness. But sadly, I fear that will be impossible.
What?
The name the gentleman gained for himself, Egbert Benedict, is quite clearly false.
I don't believe it. People lying in real life? Could I say something?
Who was that, please? Who spoke?
It was me, my lord. Juror number 5?
What have you to say, madame?
If possible. Inspector?
Eh? Me, madame?
I wonder if you might show the photographic print to me again. The one in which the gentleman is shown.
Ah, right, yes. This one, you mean? Of Mr. Benedict.
Yes. There's no doubt in my mind. Juror number 5, you don't mean to say you know this man? Yes, I know him.
What? No. Good gracious. Order. Juror number 5, how on earth?
I am a communications officer. Stop. As we can clearly see, the gentleman in the photograph is... Stop. Also a communications officer. Stop. He works in my office. Stop. A very talented operator, in fact. Stop. He should be in the communication station now. Stop. Tapping away on the telegraph. Stop. This doesn't seem right somehow. I can't put my finger on why, but it doesn't feel right. I suppose we all imagine the accomplice would be some sort of hardened criminal. It's a bit unexpected to find out he has a respectable job by day, whatever he gets up to at night. Yes, I suppose that's it. I suppose that's why I felt something was wrong.
If the gentleman is at London's communication station, we should be able to subpoena him within the hour. Lord Van Zeeks, if you please.
Yes, my lord.
Make the necessary arrangements with all haste.
As your lordship bids.
The court will recess for 1 hour. When the new witnesses arrive, we shall reconvene to hear the gentleman's testimony. Inspector Gregson.
Yes, my lord.
I should like to hear from you specifically about events at the pawnbrokery on the day in question. Come to my chambers during the recess. Yes, sir, my lord. Very well. Count is adjourned until 1:40 p.m.
Oh my god, what an episode. They actually blitzed through the entire segment. I didn't anticipate that. If we keep at the current rate we're going, I believe this has 4 parts. So we only have 2 episodes left. By the way, can I just slip this in the end? I apologise that episodes of this take forever to get out. I am just genuinely forgetful, and I kind of have to record this when less people are in the house, just because it's really easy to get interrupted and knocked off. So I do apologise about the fact this series has been going on for 2 years. So thank you if you're still sticking with us and watching it through to the end. It does mean a lot. I do enjoy the game, and I do want to play the sequel. I just probably need to be a bit more committed to it. But yes, no apologies about it. I will try and keep the pace. Try and churn it out weekly. Yeah, no, I've got the game on my desk as like a constant reminder that, ooh, you should do this. Whereas previously we were on a shelf. I'm not sure if anyone particularly cares, but all you gotta know is that I should be able to churn this out a bit more often, just with it being there as a constant reminder. Then again, Wind Waker's on my desk, but that's a slightly different case. And yes, until next time, with all that said and all that aside, thanks for watching, guys. My name has been Neremik, and peace out.